Hey everybody, so we're going to be doing a reaction video to Mr. Nightmare. Wait, let's see. It's 3 true sleepover horror stories, and we put it in the link in the description. Then we'll go watch it, right?
I am not do that.
Yeah, I know how to do that.
I am not scared at all.
Nobody cares, Eli. Yes, you are.
Okay, so we're gonna start in 3, 2. What? We're gonna
Wait.
What?
Your grandma doesn't let you watch this stuff.
Yes, she does.
Oh.
Okay. Grandma, if you're watching this, yeah, it doesn't really matter. But still, it's not scary. Everybody watching Mr. Nightmare. Okay, ready? 3, 2. Hope you can hear it, guys. Wait.
You can really hear back there. That was just not you.
No, was it? It was freaking joke. Eating some Sour Patch Kids.
My cousin Tyler and I used to have.
Sorry, this might be
sleepovers
copyright.
all the time when we were kids.
I'll just let y'all
Always
hear
at his
it. I'll
house,
just let
though,
y'all hear it. I
because
don't
he
want to
has a
show
cool
y'all.
house.
Because it might be a copyright.
Back then, before cell phones and modern video games, kids actually used to do normal kid things. Like, for example, we both loved to play hide and seek at night. One time when we were 9,
Same with us,
both
yeah.
our parents
In the
were
dark.
going out for a night in Atlantic City. So they had my other cousin,
What's
Tyler's
Atlantic
older brother
City?
Joe, keep watching.
Oh yeah,
us.
sorry for not uploading in a while. I uploaded like a month ago.
However, Joe told both of us he was going out and not to tell Mom. Tyler and Joe would commonly do this because it mutually benefited them. Tyler loved having the house to himself, and Joe hated staying home all night. By the time he left, it was already a little later in the night, like 9 o'clock.
Well, it's not even late at all.
Decided it would be a good idea
By
to
10
play
it gets
hide and
late.
seek. Their house was honestly massive, so it was always a lot of fun.
I'm just gonna come by 11
I was hiding first. We started in the basement where Tyler would count. We had a rule that we couldn't use.
Oh, the
any
basement?
house
I would not count in there
flashlights.
probably.
A reason for this was
not
because it
hiding
just
there.
made it cooler. I tiptoed up the stairs, then up the next flight of stairs to the upstairs of the house. The upstairs had a whole other
I told
living
the dude
area,
that was a
along
figure
with
right there.
3 bedrooms. I chose to hide in one of the unused bedrooms. I buried myself between 2 big beanbag chairs and the blanket. I left the door open to avoid any suspicions. I heard creaking coming into the room, lively footsteps. Tyler was now moving around the carpeted room. I could hear him. He went over to the closet and opened
Oh
it.
god.
Then he opened the second closet. Silence. Then he walked over to the other side of the room. He started opening the drawers to the desk, rummaging through
What are
them.
you doing?
Suddenly, I heard Tyler's young, innocent voice calling my name up the stairs in a kind of mockingly tone to try and scare me. My mouth opened and literally started
He scared the
twitching when
crap
I
out
put
of
2
me.
and 2 together. I lifted the blanket slightly over my head to see what he was
Eli, can you
doing,
stop eating my chips?
but it wasn't Tyler.
God dang.
I knew right away based off the person's height.
What?
He was a
Why
much
you doing
taller,
that?
fully
Push up.
grown man. It wasn't Joe, and it wasn't his dad. He perked up like a statue when he heard Tyler's voice, and I saw him duck into the corner of the room, behind the small piece of wall that sticks out there. Tyler entered the room with his flashlight and kept saying my name over and over, slow and drawn out like. I was praying his light would not reach over to the corner of the room. His light landed on me under the blanket. He may not have seen me, but I still willingly came out and acted all defeated, fake laughing and everything. I told him who won, put my arm around his back, and started nudging him out of the room. I kept the conversation as natural as possible until we told him there was someone in there with me and nudged him to
I
run
hate that.
outside. Being the scared 9-year-olds we were, all we could do was run next door and ask the woman living there to call the police for us. She did without hesitation.
Let me have some, bro.
I still remember the scene
Yeah,
vividly.
he never had some.
Of the cops pulling up, running into the house, and 5 minutes later, ushering a guy out in cuffs. It was a great feeling, even as a 9-year-old.
All you eat, that's all you eat is junk food. That's why you're like that.
Okay, we're gonna do it when it comes on.
Occasional lightning.
Okay, so the
We were
story's on.
13 years old. Mike lived on a dead end with one other house next to it. Across the street was a field surrounded by trees, and his backyard led to a forest. Mike and I were up late, much after his dad went to sleep. His dad's room was all the way upstairs. Mike's room was on the lower level of the house by the den. So the den was where we would hang out mostly to just play GameCube.
Oh,
A
yeah,
knock at
GameCube.
the backyard window interrupted our game. The blind was shut, so we couldn't see outside. Mike ran to go open the blinds. I told him not to, but he did anyway. As he did, I shut off the TV and lamps because I didn't want to be seen. Now that it was dark in the den and slightly brighter outside, we could slightly see outside and see that there was nothing but grass in the visible distance. A small flash of lightning confirmed that there was nothing but wet grass in all directions.
Get off
We
of
sat in the
me,
den with the lights
weirdo!
off for a while, just waiting for something else to happen. We kept our eyes on the window, expecting somebody to come up to it. Eventually, after what felt like forever later, we turned the TV and lamp back on and pretended it didn't happen. The blinds were open this time, and every so often I'd take nervous glances at the window, just making sure nobody was out there. After getting so absorbed in the game and forgetting to take a glance at the window, there was the second set of knocks. Mike and I both jumped up and looked at each other. With all the lights on, we couldn't really see outside. At least, not until the flash of lightning outside, just for a brief moment, lit up the night sky, long enough to show the person who was standing at the window. This time we ran upstairs to Mike's dad's room and pulled him out of bed, screaming at him to get up. The three of us ran out to the backyard in our coats and shoes, turning the backyard light on the way, and also taking along flashlights.
Yeah.
There was a buildup of mud next to the back wall of the house where the dirt patches were, and in the puddles of mud were heavy, distinct footprints of boots. We followed the footprints as far as we could, but as the mud faded away, so did the footprints. He searched high and low for anybody. He even went around front and then out into the woods. He and Mike both jumped from the couches and ran upstairs to his dad's room once again. This time he ran outside alone and told us to call the cops.
Yeah.
He returned soaking wet, having found nobody. The cops came for nothing because there was really nothing they could do. The knocking didn't happen again, though, and I also never slept over Mike's house again. Ever since that day, his den just always gave me the creeps.
Is it paused?
No.
Well, stop digging in your butt.
I'm not. Why are you saying that?
Close friends
It
with
looks
the
like
kid
it.
named. Pulling onto his property, I already knew this was the perfect place to do anything outdoorsy.
Shut
It
up!
was a decent-sized house with nothing but woods in all directions. The first day we didn't do much because I got there late anyway, so we just talked for a while and watched a movie. A couple of times I'd think that I was hearing sounds coming from below the floor. I would ask him, "Do you have a basement? Someone down there?"
Yeah.
Chris went on to tell me that there was no basement, and that his whole family had been hearing weird noises coming from down there for a few days, and they planned on having some inspector over to check it out.
Okay.
The next day was partly cloudy and warm, so we planned on spending most of the day outside. I convinced him to go for a walk in the woods just to explore. After all, this was all kind of new to him as well. Conveniently, there was an opening into the woods that almost seemed to have meant to be a path. So as we were walking over to it, Chris's foot hit something that made a metallic kind of thud sound. His foot hit a rusty old cellar door. He said he didn't know about this, neither did his dad. He bent down and pulled it open, and it made an ear-piercing squeal as the rusty door turned on the hinges. It was the definition of pitch black down there, but it seemed a ladder led down a very narrow tunnel. Neither of us dared to step foot down there. Suddenly, a sound echoed up the tunnel, like the sound of something dropping onto a hard floor. And then metallic sounds echoing up the tunnel, getting closer. As soon as we realized it was the sound of somebody climbing up the ladder.
Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, so.
I'm positive.
I did.
No,
Okay.
That's what I meant.
He called down there repeatedly for anybody